Hey everybody, Lord Zath coming back with another episode of Zath's Replay Theater, and once again, Vartazian is here.
Ooh, once again, I am here. Factual statements.
And we've done a cruiser game, a battleship game, so why not do a destroyer game, right?
Yeah, and a weird one at that. No Lo Yangs.
But Z-23, so there is still Hydro.
There is still Hydro, I know, but the thing is we haven't seen a Z-23 at all in any of the replays we've done really recently.
True.
And there's been like 2 or 3 Lo Yangs aside, and now we're at Z-23. So, what are some of the strengths of the Z-23?
Well, you tell me. I'm kidding. I'm trying to do screenshots. So the strengths.
I'll do it then. If you're doing screenshots, I don't mind talking. Yeah, sorry, I forgot that you do the screenshots at the start. So the Z-23, really, it's a decent ship. It's not as good as the Lo Yang or the Benson in terms of, I believe, concealment. I'm not a German destroyer expert. I don't have one myself. But one of the major factors that makes the Z-23 a really good ship is the fact that it has Hydro. But it's always been kind of overshadowed by the fact that the Lo Yang has Hydro. It also has a really fast torpedo reload. That's one of the kind of trademarks of the German destroyers, is that their reload on their torps is not that long. They don't hit as hard, and I believe that the Z-23 has a 4 torpedo spread. It's a 4x2.
Yes.
So it's good for contesting caps. Is it as good as the Lo Yang? That's to be decided. Another thing is that it has a really good HP pool.
Yes.
Yeah, so 22,000 hit points. I believe that's highest at tier. I don't think there's another ship besides Akazuki that gets as close, but the Akazuki's kind of a special duck, so...
Yep.
Yeah, also, the Z-23 has 150mm guns, so it punches a lot harder with that German AP, which it does also have, which is German AP. So really bad penetration angles, really high alpha damage. So it's really good on getting into the sides of cruisers and attacking them. So it's a good flank destroyer.
Yes. Now, a couple of things. I've played through the destroyer line, and I gotta say, I hated the Z-23 until probably the second second half or third of my grind. And that's mainly because I just couldn't figure out the guns. Until I ran into a game with this extreme hyper purple super unicum destroyer player who was manning the Z-23 and just, I mean, I still remember it was 2 brothers, and I still remember the map and everything. And I asked him in alt chat, I'm like, how the hell do you do so good with this ship? Because it's got smoke, but the smoke lasts like, what, 60 seconds or something?
Yeah, it's real short.
It's got Hydro, but it's short-range Hydro. It's, what, 4.44 kilometer. And so, like, how do you do this kind of damage with it? And the one thing he told me was that he runs the 150s, because you can also run the 128s. Those are the stock guns. He said he runs the 150s, and he runs IFHE. And at that moment, everything just kind of clicked. And I'm like, oh! And so the nice thing about IFHE with the 150s is that now you can start penning bow-on targets with HE and that kind of stuff, and it becomes far more utilitarian.
Yeah, IFHE can work on destroyers. I actually, when I revert back to my damage farming ways, when I feel like I just want to relax, I will pull out an IFHE Farragut. And
Wow.
that thing eats New Mexico's, New York's, Colorado's breakfast. It eats everything alive. So having 150s with IFHE it's only an upgrade, right? And there isn't really a lot of downside for it for the destroyer either. So it makes it really good at pumping out that DPM, and especially since you have 150s that have AP. 155s aren't that much bigger than 150s, and if you're APing the side of something, it's going to hurt.
Yep, this is really good at doing citadel damage to cruisers. And one quick thing I want to mention, pro tip for those of you guys that are grinding up the line, notice that there are 2 barrels on this gun. The stock guns, it's just 1 barrel. So you actually gain an extra gun by going the 150 route.
Very useful.
Yep. And the placement's kind of nice too, because you got the 2 in the front, right? And then you can kind of swing your side around a little bit to get this guy out there, and then of course the 2 rear ones for full broadside engagement fun. So yeah, so those are the strengths definitely. The weaknesses, I mean, anti-air is not the greatest, and all that good stuff. So shall we get started?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So we're looking at flags. I mean, well, Wingspan is just running the standard consumable ones. So we've got the Juliet Charlie here for detonation. This is the Zulu for credit gain, speed flag. Is that the reduction in burning one?
I can't see it that well. It looks like it's increased fire chance.
Yes. No, wait. That's fire reduction.
Is that fire reduction?
It's got to be fire reduction.
Oh yeah. Let me look at mine. Yeah, fire extinguisher. Yeah, India Yankee.
That's interesting, considering the recent change to destroyers. There's 50% less fire duration on destroyers now, so he wants even less of that.
Well, yeah. Sometimes you need to save that to the repair party for your engine or rudder.
Yep.
Even with last stand.
Now we've got increased flooding chance. Now the fact that he's not running any of the fire chance ones tells me immediately that he's planning on APing most things, right?
He wants to AP a lot of things, or he's super greedy because he has credit on there and he also has experience.
Yes. Well, this is
not experience. Yeah, that's post-ship battle. Yeah, they're both credits. Yeah.
And then, of course, the consumable reload. So that's interesting. Any other flags? Obviously, the fire ones would be very helpful. And even what is it? Victor Lima, I think, is the one that also adds 4% chance of flooding.
Yeah, that's Victor Lima.
So if you want even more flooding chances, I mean, that would be nice to have.
Hey, some people like their credit gains in ranked.
Yeah, we wouldn't know anybody that likes that, would we?
No, I've already talked to them about that. Yeah, people don't run that anymore. They shouldn't.
So I do like a couple things here. Immediately, Wingspan is saying "good job" to Ism. Hey, Ism, we got ourselves a celebrity here, guys. And BFK's he was in your game.
BFK was in my game. Yep.
Yeah. So
very good destroyer player. I don't think he's in a destroyer. I think he's in a battleship this game.
Yeah, I think. Yes, but we started off with a compliment to somebody, which is always nice to see. I've seen plenty of ranked battles where it starts off with 2 people fighting each other over the last battle, and okay,
yeah, all right, here we go.
Right, but you see BFK immediately saying, "Let's bait A." So I'm assuming he wants to get somebody into A to trigger the cap, to trigger a radar hydro something, and while everybody else does something else.
Yeah. So these kind of strategies are really good to get out at the start, and I know it's kind of goes without saying that having a strategy is better than not having a strategy, but talk to your team at the start of a match just so that people, even if they aren't as good, will sail the same way as you, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you say let's go A and then everyone goes C, then maybe you should go C.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you need to make sure that you're playing as a team when you're in ranked, because even the best players will die 4-on-1.
Yep. Now it's interesting. The bottom half of the matchmaker here is pretty much even. Bama versus North Carolina, pretty even. Amagi. We've got a Bismarck versus an Amagi. Which do you think is going to be the better battleship in that?
I would go excluding players, battleship advantage to the enemy team.
Yeah.
I would take an Amagi over a Bismarck. I'd take an NC over an Alabama, and then they each have an Amagi. But the thing is that the difference between the Amagi and Bismarck is much bigger than Cal and Alabama, especially since they're sisters, I believe.
Yep. Now the nice thing is the Otago has the clear advantage over Hipper. Mm-hmm. So there's that to consider too. So
I can't even think of a clever name to exemplify the suffering that the Hipper put me through. That's how bad of a ship it is.
I didn't like it either. Again, till the very end when I started just saying fuck it and just charging everything and APing stuff, and then it got fun because you just run up, you torp him in the face, you shoot AP into him. You're probably gonna die, but you come away feeling like you did something.
Like you did something, especially if you take out a tier 9 ship. Then you're fine. Yeah, you traded away your crappy tier 8 for probably a good tier 9.
I like how BFK is telling people don't go in A yet, and I think that's something too. We see sometimes people see that and they respond, "Okay, Mr. Armchair Admiral," but you know what? You have to be able to recognize if there's a good player on your team and they're telling you something, they might have a reason for that.
Yeah, they may have a reason for saying what they do say. And it's always better to tell somebody to do something before they're in a bad position, because then afterwards it's kind of like no shit.
Yep.
If you tell them before and they, like, that situation happens, they tend to have a little bit more respect for you afterwards, because you had the foresight to know, hey, maybe charging 6 people wasn't a good idea.
And that's something I think that I've kind of picked up on as a holdover from clan battles is you have to check your pride at the door. And leave it at port, because when you come into a battle, you're going to make mistakes, the enemy's going to make mistakes, your teammates are going to make mistakes, and the important thing is how you as a team recover from those mistakes and take advantage of enemy mistakes.
Yeah, you need to make sure that pride at the door is very important. So right away, Wings sets off Hydro. So this is Chapel Island, for those that do not know. This island, you're pretty much impervious to assault as long as the enemy doesn't control B. If you're right under it. You go in with your Hydro Destroyer, you sit at the island, and you just contest A. It's much safer than if you go over to where the enemy Z-23 is. I think it's Z-23 over there?
Yep.
Yeah. That is a very unsafe place to go. Because if you see the Chapayev's in a place to shoot him, Atago's in a place to shoot him, Chappie can radar, the battleships can shoot at him, and he's not even reversed in. Yeah, so he has to turn out to get away. And he's spotted. This is a textbook example of what not to do in rank.
Absolutely.
Do not go into the front of the cap with the front of your ship. If anything, back into it.
Now we see him starting to disappear here.
Activates the Klingon cloaking device.
Right, and I have a good feeling that he's about to reappear before everybody's eyes.
Yeah.
Because that Chapayev is 8.7 kilometers. Chapayev doing a very nice job of at least recognizing this island here, but we've got that Amagi that's going to get shots on him pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
So
and he's already taken a hit as well.
Yes, and he's taking more right now. So that's a very dangerous, high-risk, high-reward maneuver for a Chapayev. Would you rather see him over here?
I usually like having the radar cruisers over on that suicide corner. Aptly named because of what happened to us in clan battles with it. But that corner is actually really good, especially if you have a dedicated Hydro Destroyer to go behind A there. Because then you're not going to get flanked.
So you're talking about this corner right here.
Mm-hmm. And then you can either adjust to poke your nose out through the front here to squeeze shots out at the Alabama and Amagi, or you can go around the other side where the Z-23 is and go and assist that way.
Which is what you did in your replay that we watched.
Exactly. It gives you a lot of versatility. You don't need to be making the first play every time in warships. You can definitely be reactive. You just need to make sure that you're being proactive in some fronts.
And I would argue that at the beginning of the battle, your Hydro is far more important than your guns.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I'm sorry, your radar.
It is. And also, like right here, it looks like he's trying to crash the island, but he's still going to be spotted. So he's in a rough position. But I think the person that's actually in the roughest position right now is the Akazuki.
Yeah.
He's moving full speed forward. They have a radar, or they don't have a radar on the corner, do they? They don't have a radar ship, I believe. They have a Martel and or no, they have a Hipper and a.
They do have a Chappie.
Oh, they do have a Chappie.
Which hasn't been spotted yet.
Which hasn't been spotted yet. So he's charging in. He's already turning hard left. He might beach here. And the only way he's going to get out is to turn left into the channel. And that means giving a broadside to everyone.
And you can see he's smoking right now, too. He's recognized he's about to crash, and he's just trying to save himself.
Yeah.
But, I mean, now, number one, of course, the Z-23 is there and could possibly charge with Hydro, but where would you think this Chapayev is? Maybe on the other side?
He might be on the opposite corner of the corner we talked about, where you should be going, or he could be on the other side of that main island. Also, actually, if you...
Ta-da!
Yeah, there we go. I was going to say, he was just at the top left, so I believe, yeah, he's just on the opposite side where he should be. That's a really good spot for the Chappie.
Yep, that's the Chapayev radar, by the way, now detecting the Z-23 and the Chapayev. which means that ISM is probably going to be detected because Chapayev will probably counter radar now that Akizuki is. So
actually, I think he already radared because our Z-23 was detected earlier.
Right. Sorry,
so I think,
you're right.
Yeah, ISM might actually be safe here.
I was thinking that was the Z-23 Hydro, but he's far too away. He's too far away.
Yeah, he's way too far away for that.
Yeah, you're right. So that was a bad decision, I think, on the Chapayev's part, radaring so early before the team could really do anything to punish anybody. So
well, on the flip side, the Chapayev radar might have been the thing that was spotting the enemy Chappie.
Mm-hmm.
To let him get absolutely hammered by the battleships. So it wasn't a complete waste. I would have been a little bit more conservative with my usage, but we'll see how it plays out. If in the end this Chappie dies for it, then it's probably worth it.
Right. One thing I usually like to see with Chapayev play is you don't pop the radar immediately. You let the destroyer think that they're safe, because then they start to get complacent. They hit this. They just stop. I've seen that happen so many times. Then you pop the radar, and they're like, "Oh snap!" and they die.
Especially if the Chappie's like behind an island or something, and they don't know, and you haven't been spotted yet. The DD will just get nice and close, and then you're 6 kilometers away, and they can't outrun it.
Yep.
They're in it for the whole duration. Yeah. So.
Shall we press play again and see what happens?
Let's do it. There was a lot to cover because it's the start of the match since the first engagement, but I think we'll see what's happening here.
Oh god, and I think it's good too being able to highlight some good destroyer play and bad destroyer play at the same time. Mm-hmm. Now look at this. Akizuki just got detected, so that's why I snapped back to a Wings fan here. Cause what do you think he's gonna do now?
Well, Z-23 loses to the Ducky in a fast or in a DPM race. Duck shoots too fast, but if he plays his cards right, spots the Akizuki, he has a Tago support.
Yep.
So we'll see here. We'll wait for what Wings is doing here is he's absolutely waiting for the enemy Akizuki to push as far forward as possible, so that the Z-23 isn't overextended and that the Duck is.
Yep. Also, we saw both the torpedoes spreads going, so the Akizuki blew his reload booster.
Yes. Go. Z-23 does handle a bit better, he turns out. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he got him to shoot. I mean, that's all you need to do. And then the Atago can take care of the rest for you.
Why'd you say he had a booster?
The Akizuki has a torpedo reload booster.
Does it have a booster if it has smoke? I thought they got rid of that.
That's the Shiratsuyu.
The gimmick?
That's a Shiratsuyu has to choose. Akizuki keeps it as
it
a
gets
separate...
both?
Yes.
I learned something today. I did not know that. I thought that the Shiratsuyu got both.
It did originally, and then it got nerfed hard because, well,
I'm showing my age. I'm showing my age in this game.
It's all good. Now this is beautiful, right? Akizuki, Atago, even Bismarck is joining in on the chase here. Mm-hmm. And Chapayev's second radar hits, and oh well.
Yeah. You can overcommit on a flank, though. The Bismarck should probably still be over with the other Chappie here.
Absolutely.
And Wings is charging this Akizuki without having Hydro. So it's a little bit dangerous. We'll see, but it looks like he's going to eat a torp. No.
Yep, well, we know, and he probably realized, too, with both of those torps going, he's perfectly safe from that Akizuki. I think the reload is something obnoxious, like a minute and a half or 2 minutes, so...
Gearing levels.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're absolutely right, though. If you've got a smoked-up destroyer and you've got Hydro, there's absolutely no reason not to charge with Hydro going. Even a cruiser... excuse me there. Even a cruiser jumping in, pop your freaking Hydro and save yourself from getting torpedoed.
And look at that, minute 10 is the reload on these torps. That's super short, especially with the lifetime of these torps. Torps are going to hit their target, and then your next set's going to be up almost right away.
Yep, and that's partly because he's already lost about a third of his health too, so I'm sure that he's running Adrenaline Rush.
Adrenaline Rush is incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, there was also a joke about that in the clan. Or for clan battles, every single build Vart gives us as adrenaline rush. If you don't take it, it's not a Vart build.
Yeah. Now, what we see happening with the enemy team is almost kind of what we saw oftentimes in clan battles, where you lose this flank and everybody just jumps into the middle from both sides.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we got the Samagi that pushed through C. Surprisingly enough, the Chapayev is still alive.
Yeah, that's surprising. Is the Chappie actually just kind of reversing around the island every time the Amagi shoots?
That's what it looks like. I mean,
yeah.
Which makes perfect sense. It's very smart, very expertly played, and you know, he didn't panic, so to speak, when he took that focus fire at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And make sure, and guys, pay attention to this. I know we're doing a destroyer replay, but this is very important for cruisers. Cruisers are easily the most punished class in the game because they have citadels. If you have a radar cruiser, hug your islands, because that eliminates an entire flank that you can't be shot from, assuming you're close enough.
This
right?
Chapayev can only be shot at from this Amagi that's got his rear guns pointed to him. That's it. The Hipper.
That's it.
Probably can't hit him, I don't think. The Alabama and Amagi definitely can't, because they've got their own island that they're behind too, so...
Yeah, and the Chapayev that could hit him on the other side there is way too worried about 3 ships coming around on him to do anything about this Chappie.
Right, and then we've got this North Carolina now. This North Carolina, what do you think about his positioning?
Well, he's boxing out the Amagi, but the problem is that he needs to be further back. He needs to keep that island in between him and the North Amagi and the North Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Because now he can either angle himself to the Amagi or he can angle himself to the Amagi and Alabama, not both.
Right. And if he's going full speed, he's almost going to be forced to pull forward and then go to the right here and kind of shore up with this island, right? Like he can put himself here maybe to block the shots from the left. But now, I mean, he can't shoot anything other than maybe the Amagi.
Yeah, the most important thing, if I was this North Cal, I would wait for the Amagi and the Alabama to shoot, see where they're looking, wait for them to shoot, and then I would move over to the island that he has his nose pointed at right now, put my port side right onto the island, and then just kind of box out the Amagi from pushing in.
So what I was just kind of saying,
yeah,
going up and then going here.
Yeah,
got it. And then the other Amagi, doing a nice job of basically holding the flank by himself. We can't see him because he's too far away. But he is definitely the reason why this Amagi couldn't keep going around and wrecking the Chapayev. So, that's huge.
It is huge.
Shall we continue?
Go for it.
Alright, so the North Cal is basically going to stop and reverse, which, I mean, you could do, but now he's opening himself up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potential
Yeah. The other option here is to do the opposite of what we were talking about. Slam your starboard side onto the island.
Yeah.
Onto the other side of the island and bow onto the Alabama and Amagi.
Right. And with the way the Hipper's going too, I mean, then you can get him if he comes out in front, but then the Hipper can just torp you in the face too. Yeah,
and here's the thing. NorCal's shooting HE at a broadside Amagi, so I don't know if this NorCal actually has a lot of experience playing battleships, because there was no reason for him to be shooting HE at that target.
Yeah, although maybe he's thinking stern on Amagi, no penetration with AP.
Yeah, yeah, the Amagi was actually broadside when he fired, though. He turned out after the shots came.
True.
We'll see.
Oh, he did switch. Yeah, and see, that's something that frustrates me as a player, too, is I'll switch to AP when they start turning, and then, of course, they turn the opposite direction, and then I'll switch to HE, and then they give me broadside, and it's like, oh my god. It's like they know, right? So, anyway, Chapayev just took a big hit. So, ouch.
Let's have a look at what Wings is doing again here, because it looks like he's going for a torp run.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder... Sorry, go ahead.
So he knows that pushing in is not going to be a good idea right now, because even with being a destroyer, right, you don't have infinite torpedoes. So pushing in to try and stop them from taking A is just going to get you killed. You're up a ship right now. They don't have any destroyers left. This is their desperation push. They're pushing in to try and win with this. If they don't win the game with this push, the enemy team loses.
It's an all-or-nothing desperate rush. Absolutely.
Exactly. So just keep calm, stay alive, and your team will win this game.
And if I'm Wings or if I'm BFK, I might be saying something right now. I think that's BFK down here. I might be saying something like, guys, they're pushing A hard, punish them. Or, you know, something along those lines, just to get everybody's attention on this. Especially this North Carolina. He needs to be aware, because these guys can just come right through and blap him in the citadels.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to keep the Chapayev protected, and we also want to make sure that these guys aren't getting around behind BFK.
Now, Wings does have the ability to smoke up the Chapayev. It's a very brief smoke, but that might be enough to get him out of that sticky situation.
It might be. We'll have a look-see here. We'll see what Wings can do. Hipper just has not been effective at all this game.
Nope. There's the radar. Oh!
2 hits.
Actually, it could be Hipper's Hydra.
Another torp hit, so 3
That was the Chapayev's radar, because it's gone now. Hipper's putting up a plane to try to see around the island. That's smart for a cruiser to do that.
Yeah. If you're gonna die, launch your planes. There's no reason not to.
Unless you're facing me in a ranked battle, in which case, please keep them in the hangar when you die.
Yeah.
Smart play here. He knows that this guy's coming around. There's no point in continuing forward to just get detected and shot.
And did you see what the Amagi did there? He fired off his last shots to kill the Hipper, and then rammed the other Amagi.
Yep.
We couldn't actually see how much HP the enemy Amagi have, so we don't know if it was a worth trade, but they both died. So 1 for 2 is a pretty good swap.
Especially in this situation. You don't hold all the caps, but, I mean, look at this. There's only 2 ships left on the enemy team now. And the torps, beautiful torps, because now this Bama... See, this Bama's going to be forced to run. Because he's being focused by everyone. And he's probably just going to run straight into those torps.
And look at how often these torps are coming out. Like, it's just every time the Alabama just got through the cap where he got torped, and he's getting torped again. No floods, though. Look at that TDS.
Yep, and possibly damage control, because he did take something on the nose. We'll find out soon when the Chapayev goes in. Nope. LOL. Greed gets them every time. Would you agree he should have just gone around the island, or well, he would have been nailed from the Amagi, though.
Yeah, he was in a bad spot. Yeah. There was no way he was going to get out of that.
This Amagi... Sorry, go ahead.
I don't even think it was. I've been stuck in that scenario. That's a tough scenario.
It is.
So I don't hold it against him for getting killed there. He was probably just trying to get a little bit more damage.
I would congratulate him for surviving as long as he did. And again, here come the next set of torps. Like you were mentioning, that fast reload coming into play here. Amagi is, at this point, kind of doing the smart thing, I suppose, getting out, right? And trying to reduce who can shoot him. Now the Otago can't farm him anymore.
Alabama's getting behind.
Now, by the way, guys, these are area denial torps. They're not meant to hit the Alabama. They're meant to discourage the Alabama from going into the channel.
Yeah, you want them to see it, but you don't want them, and you want them to run into it, but exactly, area denial is really important, and the Z-23 is really good at that with how fast the reload is.
Yep, and now these torps are the ones that you're going to hit with, because you're basically, you know that he's committed. Yep, and see now, if he turns left like you expect him to, he's going to take 3, if not all 4 of those.
And let's see if he gets a flood this time. Boom, boom, boom. He's dead. Flooded out. This last Amagi's got nothing left that he can do.
Except save his star.
Save his star. You gotta try.
Now, do you agree with the Amagi's decision to go into the channel at that point?
Well, your Chappie's dead. It's a 3 on 5 at that point. I don't really think he had anywhere to go.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he could just sit there and get shot at by the entire team, or he can go this way and reduce who can shoot him.
Yeah, reducing. Yeah,
channel.
going through the channel was a good choice to keep him alive. In terms of winning the game, it wasn't going to do anything, obviously, but this game was already on its way out. There we go. Maybe he saves his star. Judging from that, like nuking an entire cruiser, and also he got a double cap earlier. That would save him his star, but you really shouldn't be playing to save your star until it's a 1-on-4 situation.
Yeah. Now, and I also kind of note, Wings got 2 kills, 80k damage, so pretty strong performance out of a destroyer that a lot of people think is kind of a garbage tier destroyer in this meta.
Yeah. Also, look at the amount of torpedo hits. It's 9.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a really high number of torp hits for a ranked game. Normally you get 1 or 2 and that changes the impact of the game, but he got rid of the Chappie, he got rid of the Alabama, I think he hit the Amagi with 1 at one point, and now he's just kind of laughing, just shooting his guns, trying to take it up. The game's over. He's gonna burn to death. He's trying to save his star. Boom, and he's dead.
Yep.
And it's important to have replays like this because there's so many people that discredit ships just based off of what are the best WTR farmers or the best damage farmers, right? I've always said this, there's more metrics to winning games than just dealing damage. Sure, he had a very high damage game in the Z-23 today, but he played it well. He took advantage of the fact that there was about a minute between torpedo salvos. That's important to take advantage of. So when you're looking at what ships you're going to take into ranked, make sure that you're playing what you're good with. Yes, there are some ships that are less than optimal. The two that come Hipper, Monarch isn't really that good for tier 8. It's kind of the black sheep of the British battleship line.
Mm-hmm.
Mogami, if you got the ARP Takao or the Atago, play that instead. But for the most part, most ships are pretty viable.
Agreed. And it's definitely, you have to learn the strengths of that ship and the weaknesses and maximize your strengths and minimize your weaknesses.
Yeah, it's just like, like I said before, if you're playing a cruiser, hug islands. If you're playing a destroyer that has a quick torpedo reload, chuck torps everywhere. If you have hydro, push enemy DDs out of the cap. Always play to your strengths.
Right. And you don't necessarily want to play the meta ship. And maybe if I can get on my soapbox for a second, one thing I want to mention is back in Tier 7, when Tier 7 ranked was Belfast, and everyone said, World of Belfast, blah, 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 and people just whined and complained and moaned. The people that got out of that season of ranked, sure, some people did it in Belfast, but an awful lot of people looked at the Belfast and said, what's its greatest weakness, and what can I do to destroy it on site? And so you saw a lot of people taking out the Gneisenau for Battleship or the Nagato and just demolishing them in one hit. Or long-range torps.
The Nagato was my bane in Tier 7 because I would just sit there in my smoke and overmatch everywhere, citadels everywhere. It didn't matter. So you definitely have to counter the meta if you can. Don't always just play the meta ship. Try and take out the meta ships as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, any final comments to make, Vart?
No, I think we covered everything in the replay. That was pretty good. So
I think I would agree, and I don't know about you, but I had fun doing this.
Yeah, I had a great time doing these replays with you, Zath. So yeah, I'm looking forward to potentially doing some more with you.
Guys, please make some comments in YouTube. Let me know what you think about this setup, about having a special guest commentator. And do you like it? Do you not like it? Is there somebody you want me to try to invite? I'd love to continue to grow the channel and do things that ultimately help everybody learn this game and just really enjoy it.
Yeah, and like you said before, right? Everybody can submit the replays. Like we said before, if you have a replay where you're not sure what you should have done, or maybe you should turn something around, even if it's a loss, even if it's not a incredibly high damage game. Zath wants to help you.
My favorite replays. I actually have 2 co-op games that were both defeats. They were both losses, and it's not because you lost a co-op. It's because of the fact that there were so many teachable moments in those battles to be able to showcase what went right, what went wrong, and it's so nice being able to do that. To be able to just kind of have people that are willing to put themselves out there like that. I respect the hell out of them.
Yeah, and one of the things I love doing is helping people with their replays and stuff like that. So definitely, if I'm around, I'd be more than happy to look at them with you, Zath. So get the replays in, people.
And we need replays, man. We were looking through this whole list trying to find good ranked battle replays to showcase, and I've got a lot of randoms, but I need ranked guys. So please send them in to me.
Yeah, we like doing the ranked analysis. We want to help you get your stars. We want to get you your Flints or your Blacks or your Salems.
We'll see.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Next season, maybe.
At the very least, you get camo.
Yay.
Camo. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for tuning in. And Vart, thanks for being the guest star. Appreciate it.
Yeah, hey, thanks. Thanks for having me. Hopefully we can do this again in the future.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.